Hi and welcome. This is Steve Pistarelli, Graphic Specialist with MGI USA. How are you all doing? Hope you're enjoying the holiday season. We've decided to come up with a project for the Halloween theme. Hope it's something you find fun and creative. I do, as far as putting these together. We decided to do something a little different. We're using foil as mainly as the print. There's going to be no CMYK print in this job. We're just putting together some caricature of the pumpkins, some textures, and some spot varnish areas as well. Being that we're not using any CMYK print, we're going to rely on the grid mode for the registration of the different layers of foil. And as you can take a look at in our JVTI spot editor, you can see how we created this and put it together. So let's take a look. All right, so here we are. We're looking at the project opened up in the JVTI spot editor, so we can look at all the different layers that are composed of on this job. It was first done in Photoshop, and then we brought it here with the alpha channels so we can look at what we have here. So the first thing you'll notice, the only CMYK print we have on this is these black target marks using the grid mode on the scanner. So this helps us to, when we have our different layers, because we have 5 layers that we're going to apply to this job, 4 being foil and 1 being varnish. The target marks for grid mode will help us to register each of those on top of themselves perfectly, so we have good registration foil to foil. We could use white page mode, but it's not as accurate as the grid mode, so the grid mode definitely is something you want to use for a project like this. So here we're turning off all the layers, and you see there's no print, so we need something to register. So we print these target marks for the grid mode, and allows us to register those to the scanner, and it uses that as a basis to register everything else to everything else. So here we're looking at all the different layers turned on with the varnish and the foil, all the different foil for the foil. So we're using orange, black, green, and red foil, and each of the different passes we're going to use for this particular project. So next we'll turn off the other layers and look at each individual one. So this is going to be our orange or our base layer. So this is kind of like a solid areas of orange that we're going to print down on top of the job. In the orange layer and this base layer, we're not going to use any LED because we want it to flow and look as nice and flat as possible. The next layer we're going to look at is the green layer. So on the green layer, we see we're using the pumpkin stems and one of the pumpkin hats as a basis for the green foil that we're going to apply on top of the orange foil or next to the orange foil of the pumpkins. The next section we're going to look at is the black foil. So on the black foil, you see it's all the outlines of the pumpkins and the Halloween that's on here. So each of those will be printed on top of the orange foil and the MGI JETvarnish 3D series logo as well. So the next one, I'm going to turn on the black foil layer, and I'm going to leave the textured red foil layer turned on as well. It's a lighter color, so we're going to zoom in here to take a look, and you can see that's the texture effect we're going to apply on top of the black foil using a red foil. And on top of the orange, we're going to do also these textures inside of the pumpkin here for each pumpkin. We did a different texture to kind of go with the characters of each of the pumpkins. Again, textures can be applied as far as what you see will work best. For each of the pumpkins that we have here, we applied a different texture. And we also applied a little dot effect on top of the middle pumpkin here to give that an textured effect as well. So the final layer that we're going to look at would be the varnish layer. We've shown all the layers, so now with the purple here in the background with the skull and bones, we see that is going to be our varnish layer that we're going to apply at the end. All varnish layers are always applied after the foil is done. And what you'll notice in here is I've created a buffer zone in between the foil and the varnish, so we're not bumping up the varnish, spreading into the foil. Sometimes it gives kind of funny effects, and but this makes it look cleaner, sharper. The detail is there and gives an overall good effect to the quality of the piece. So if we turn off the layers, and you can see just the varnish layer, and you notice that we have an outline for where the logo area is there at the bottom, so we don't put any varnish on top of the logo itself as well. So here we're going to turn on all the rest of the layers, And the next section, we're going to look at the finished piece and see what it looks like, and see how it all comes out. So let's take a look.